when I had my job, they were like, hey, do you want to invest in this 401k? And this is at age 16. I was like, 401k, what is that?
Hi, I'm Dana White, founder and host of One Real Story, the podcast and book series where we provide entrepreneurs with practical advice through the voices of successful entrepreneurs. If you're a veteran, aspiring, or even an established entrepreneur, this show is for you. As always, I'm coming to you live from the Voice Hub production studio in Indy, Atlantic, Florida. I think I got it right this time, Justin. We all know that financial literacy is essential in our personal lives and in business. You can't run a business properly if your personal finances are not in order and if you can't manage your business finances properly. So our guest today is an accredited financial counselor that is making waves and makes understanding finances easy and fun through her social media platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and much, much more. She is the founder of Tailored Wealth Savers, which cultivates financial literacy and wealth through money management and net worth goal setting. She has over 10 years of experience, including Department of Defense as a financial counselor. Oh yeah, I can't forget. She's also a member of the prestigious group of professionals called the AKA, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She's won many awards for her drives for excellence, and the list continues to grow. So without further ado, my friend, client, and networking partner, Adrienne Taylor. How you doing, Adrienne?
Thank you, Dana. I'm great. Thank you for the warm introduction.
Nah, you're welcome. Glad to have you here today. So where you at? Since you're on
I am in Houston, Texas.
Awesome. How you like it there?
It's hot, but I do like it.
Sweet. So how did you decide to go into business as a financial counselor?
So during college, actually, I learned everything I did not want to do. I did not want to sell insurance. I loved the economics, and I didn't really want to sell anything, period, to make a commission or to make a living. So personal finance is something that just really kind of came naturally to me. I helped my family with their finances. I've helped friends with it. And so I just started learning more about the industry and was given an opportunity a while ago, years ago, to work in a personal finance department for one of the world's largest credit unions. So I took that opportunity and just kind of stayed in the field, got out of it temporarily so I could learn more about leadership and then jump right back in. And it's kind of how I got here.
That's an interesting story. So, you have to have a passion and drive behind it, right? So
Yes.
what is your passion and drive behind being a financial counselor?
So my greatest passion behind it is just seeing like the neighborhood of where I came from, seeing how people would literally, they might not make that much money, or they might have a salary that they can live off of, but that's it. And so my drive really just came from seeing the neighborhood, seeing where I came from, and learning that I wanted to do more. I didn't want to be that person just living for the next paycheck. So once I was inspired to do so, I saw my friends wanting to do the same. And so my passion just really drove from that. We're not really taught finances in school. We're taught how to write a check. You're taught how to spend your money. You're taught what bag to buy, the latest fashion trends, but you're not taught how to actually take your money and use your money to become like your own self-made millionaire, regardless of your income level. So that's just pretty much where my passion just came from, just wanting to see more self-made millionaires, wanting to help myself first and then help my family and then just spread from there.
Well, that's a pretty big feat, right? Like, so I come from similar background, right? Where, I wasn't taught finances growing up. I was taught you have a credit score, but if you can't pay it, you just can't pay it, But it wasn't until I became an adult that I understood that no matter how much, because I even had friends that wouldn't, either myself included, wouldn't get a credit card unless I was able to make sure I was able to pay for it. And because I
Mm-hmm.
knew I was living paycheck to paycheck at one point in time, when I was like 18 on my own, then I didn't do it until I was about 21, because I
Wow.
realized I really needed to have a credit card in order to have established credit.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I wanted to be in control, because at that point in time, I was working in engineering, and I could control it a lot better. But it wasn't taught to me at an early age. So I think what you're doing is pretty it's pretty nice, because you make it fun with your YouTube
Yes.
channel.
So finances overall is just a subject we don't really like talking about. It's almost some people would rather talk about death than talk about finances. So finances is just that one topic, kind of like politics. You don't really talk about it. People don't want to enjoy it. People argue about it. It breaks up marriages. So I just try to make it something that's fun that we want to talk about, something that's engaging at the same time, and something that will help you just to be able to do more in life and relate it to topics that we actually like to discuss.
Sweet. So now, when you said self-made millionaire, like, some people will look at you and be like, yeah, right, right. Because if you come from where I'm from, self-made millionaire means you're doing it in a different capacity. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, how do you help people as an accredited financial counselor
So
understand that?
one of Great question. One of the things that I focus on as a counselor, as a financial counselor, is one helping people figure out what is the actual, like the underlying issue, what is the underlying goal that you want, or the underlying. I help people figure out one, what's the underlying issue, and then also figure out what their actual goal is. So some people might just have a simple goal. I just want to pay off my car. And so I help figure out, okay, how can we do that? Number one, how can we change that mindset? Because the mindset's the first thing that has to change before we work on anything else. How do we change that mindset to not just, I paid off this car, let me go get another one. But I've paid off this car. How can I allow this car to last me for a certain amount of time? You can take the money that I would have been paying for that car, put it towards something else, and now I can start earning interest and I can make money off of my money.
You make it sound so simple.
To me, it is a simple process, but helping someone realize what that process is may not be the easiest thing. So just because I know where I want to go doesn't mean I know how to get there. So I help people just figure out what steps do we need to take so that you can get to where you want to go, break it down into small goals and help you achieve that ultimate goal that you want to have. And then once we achieve that first goal, how do we build upon that first goal to now make another goal and then just keep building on goals on top of that?
So there's almost a little psychology side to it as well, right? Because you have to change a person's way of thinking towards
Mm-hmm.
money, right? Finances.
Yes.
Now, how that in itself is a challenge. But I'm pretty sure your programs, right, are start small to kind of help you build up.
Correct. So one thing I don't believe in is necessarily like a subscription to where you just keep paying it over and over. But we start small. So we first figure out one, we work together to figure out what your goal is. And then we figure out what's actually going on mentally so that we can try to work and to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. But then what's holding you back? Because everybody has something that's holding them back. I don't care if it's Jay-Z or any millionaire that you want to mention, if it's Bill Gates. I'm sure that at one point in time he had something holding him back. And even if he has another goal, how is he going to achieve that next goal? So we have to figure out how can we get over that hurdle of what's holding us back mentally,
Mm,
change our mindset to update it to now work towards achieving our goals.
sweet. So that just brings me to, everyone has different levels of financial literacy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how soon do you think that we should be teaching our kids financial literacy?
I think immediately, once a child learns how to read and write, I think they can start learning principles of finances, especially if they've learned addition and subtraction. At that point in time, I think financial literacy should be included in the schools, but because it's not included in the home, start with small children books for financial literacy and build upon there. Teach your children the basics of managing finances. And if you don't know how to manage it, then that's a direction like, hey, maybe I need to figure out how to manage my finances so I'm not just living for the next paycheck, but I'm now living so that I'm managing my finances so I can teach my children how to better manage their finances as well.
And that should be a big motivation, right? Because if you if you can't do it for yourself, if you could do it for your children, that should be the drive that you should need to become better informed, to be able to give them
Yes.
a better head start, right?
And that's creating a legacy. So now you're doing something that's creating a legacy for your children who now once they learn, they might be a little bit better at it. So they're going to pass it down to their children. And now everybody continues to become greater at learning financial literacy, understanding it, and knowing how to build wealth.
So, within your network, growing up, like how many of your friends were good at taking care of their finances? Did you know any bad ones? Did you know any good ones?
That's a great question. I can honestly say I don't think I knew any that are really good at managing their finances. A lot of my friends in high school, either we played sports or I didn't play sports. Either they played sports or we had a job. I actually had a job. And so I know a lot of them, like we were just waiting for that next paycheck to figure out what outfit we would go to the mall to get so that we could go to a party or something like that. We weren't thinking investing in 401k. Luckily, I just started learning about because when I had my job, they were like, hey, do you want to invest in this 401k? And this is at age 16. I was like, 401k, what is that? So about it. And from there, once I started learning more about it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start investing in this. But then when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I'm investing my money, but what's happening to my money? So then that drove me to start looking at the expense ratios or the fees associated with the 401k. And then what type of fund options I have, how much they're charging. Because I'm like, if I'm giving you my money, what are you doing with my money? What is my money paying for? So those are some of the driving factors that helped me. And I think from there, I started to share that with my friends. And so it just started being passed down from there.
So I can recall when I was maybe about 19, I was working at an engineering firm and it was like, yeah, do you want to invest in this 401k? And I was like, okay, right. I just knew it was something good and it put money away, but I didn't go digging into it as deep as you have. Wondering like, what are the fees? So you're born for this.
Yeah. It was just something I enjoy. I'm really frugal. So I think I don't like, if I work hard for my money, I don't want to just let it go really easily. So that is just one thing. I think that was just a trait of me that I had. I don't want to spend my money really. So if I'm spending it, where is it going? Or if I'm investing it, what exactly is happening? And speaking of Department of Defense, I think that was one of the things that I really try to hone into with TSP for our service members. They don't necessarily, they're like in boot camp, they're told, hey, sign up for TSP. If they're enlisted, they're told sign up for TSP. You sign up for TSP, but you have no idea where your money's going, what fund option is going to, what's the rate of return. You just know you're sending money there, but what's happening to that money?
Absolutely. So then, yeah. So, you have a history of working with the Department of Defense as a financial counselor. So how has that helped you within your business?
That's helped me really understand one of the greatest principles I talk about is one of the greatest principles I talk about is an income problem versus spending problem. And so working with the Department of Defense really taught me the differences of an income problem versus spending problem. Because in the military overall, most people do not have an income problem overall. Most people have a spending problem, but they think, hey, I need to earn more money. So now we figure out how can we change the mindset, not necessarily that you need to earn more money, but to better manage the money that you have, but do it in a way that's not saying, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. But instead, if I achieve X, Y, and Z, now I can do A, B, C, or whatever order you want to put it in. So I think working with the military really helped me understand that and learn how to talk to people of all walks of life, because the military has the good, the bad, the ugly. Everybody's in there.
Oh, yeah.
So I learned how to talk to people regardless of your education level, regardless of your income level, just knowing how to talk to people based upon where they are.
So that's you mentioned something that's pretty deep, right? Most people don't have an income problem; they have a spending problem, and so where I attribute it to where, America, right? Land of the free, home of the brave, it's a great country, but we're built on debt, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you it's almost instilled in people at a young age. It's like, okay, well, here, you want the latest and greatest car? Here you go. We'll give it to you. If you have a decent credit score or some established credit, it could be outside of your means. You can make $50,000 a year and you're getting,
Mm-hmm.
hold on a second. You're getting a $50,000 car and you only make $30,000 a year.
That's it.
Right. And then the value that is going to, the depreciation value in that investment that you're making, it won't won't last for the duration of your payments, right?
Yes.
And you're just gonna want another one. So now, how do you feel, and how do we change the fact of like, changing the mentality, basically changing the mentality of debt, because you can go and get college student loans, and then guess what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You're in debt. So like, how do you work around those while teaching financial literacy? Because even though we're teaching the basics, but you have these common items such as you can't avoid when it comes to college student loans.
So student loans is definitely a tough subject. And regardless if we're talking about the military or not, obviously military has things that they can apply for, such as the public service forgiveness loan or public service forgiveness that they can apply for to get rid of their student loans. But sometimes that doesn't work. Like the payout ratio of the PLSA is very low. Like a lot of people, even though they qualified, they haven't actually received that forgiveness. So trying to figure out how to work with where we are to move forward can be very difficult. But at the same time, that's where we learn, okay, we might have to cut out going out to eat 5 times a month to maybe twice a month. And now we're putting that little bit of extra income towards the student loans. Or we're figuring out a new plan for the student loans, or we're figuring out just what we need to do right now to meet ends. And let's say there's a car loan. Okay, now that we have that car paid off, instead of trading that car in, use what was now that payment that we were making for that car and put that payment amount towards the student loan plus your regular student loan payment. And that's a way that we can start knocking them down. So there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. I think one of the things that you mentioned actually was the car loans. And while I was actually one client I remember very clearly, and I don't share client details just because they're privacy.
Right.
I saw a 9-year car loan.
Wow.
It was exactly. So I'm just
was
like,
it a car or was it an RV?
It
should have been an
no,
RV.
It was a pickup truck. It was a pickup truck. But the 9-year car loan, I'm just like, are you going to want this same vehicle in 9 years? Now, granted, it was a vehicle they wanted, and a car dealership, they'll get you the payments that you want to get in that vehicle that you want. But how long are you going to be making the payments? And what's going to be the interest rate on that vehicle as well? And it was a high interest rate for a vehicle, in my opinion. So just trying to help a client realize, is this something you want to do? I can't change your mind, but I can help you realize what you should and should not do. And you might know not to do this, but you still want it because, oh, I have this desire. I really want this vehicle. So now let's figure out how can we actually change this around slightly so that maybe you're getting an older model or you're working towards getting that vehicle that you want. But now when you go get it, you can actually afford it because you have the income for it or you have the savings for it, and you're not borrowing from tomorrow to pay for today.
So you help people balance out their wants and their needs.
Yes, that is a huge aspect of what we do.
That is pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So that just takes me into, what are some tips and strategies that you would give an inspiring entrepreneur?
Some tips and strategies. Number one, having your own personal finances in order. Starting a business is expensive. Like those first 2 years, take advantage of the tax advantages that you have. But those first 2 years, it's expensive. Getting all of your startup, getting a microphone. It might not seem like a big expense at first, but these little expenses start to add up very quickly. So making sure your finances are in order so that maybe you don't have to take out a loan. One of my goals for my business was not to take out a loan. I wanted to be able to use revenue received from the business to pay for it. Or if I had to pay out of pocket, then I had a set amount every month for my personal budget to use towards the actual business as well. So making sure your finances are in order is really big. Plus, also understanding to keep your business revenue completely separate from your own personal revenue.
I agree. I agree. And I think also too is when it comes to technology in your business, spending the money or making the investment, there's always going to be something bigger, better, faster, and smaller in a good way when it comes to technology. So I think that was some of my challenges starting out, where we were investing in video photography equipment and then some additional software. It's you can get down a rabbit hole. So I think you made a great point. You just have to make sure you balance that because you have those fees that you have to incur when you start a business. Nice. Nice. All right. So when starting a business, based on your experiences, what would be the order of financial literacy and efficiency that you would recommend?
So the order that I would say starting out with, if you're starting your own business, making sure with your finances are in order. Number one, understanding your net worth statement. And the reason why I say that, I think oftentimes people will say, make sure you have a budget, blah, 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 blah. But knowing your net worth statement alone kind of tells you the direction that you need to go. So your net worth statement is going to look at your assets. So everything you own minus your liabilities, everything you owe money on. And if that number is significantly negative, then that might be an indication that right now, maybe I shouldn't focus on starting this business just right now, but I should focus on getting this net worth under order and taking care of some of these liabilities I have so that once I do go and start this business, now I can focus on my business solely and I'm not stressed out trying to figure out how I'm going to make a payment on something else because now I need to invest in, let's say, a camera in my business. So I need to invest in the camera, but I have to make a debt payment over here. How am I going to balance both of these? So understand that net worth statement, I think, is like the number one thing before starting a business.
Yeah, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. That is really, really big. So now what is the difference between financial counselor and financial advisor?
That's a huge difference. So as a financial counselor, I'm in a sense a fiduciary, but not, let me start over. As a financial counselor, my role is to help you figure out where you want to go and to counsel you to change the mentality. A financial advisor, on the other hand, may be trying to sell you securities, maybe trying to sell you stocks or whatever the case may be for, let's say if they're trying to invest in the stock market, then they're trying to sell you securities and investments for that stock market. I'm not doing that. My job is to help you figure out where you want to go, how you're going to get there, give you the resources so that you can get there. And now you go make your decisions. And hopefully I teach myself out of a job. At the end of the day, that's my goal.
Oh, teach yourself out of a job. Well, then hopefully they refer you to someone else, right?
Yes, that's correct. So then, yes, hopefully I am then referred. But I think at that point, then you always figure out, okay, now I need to achieve this. How am I going to work at that? And so you'll come back because I've created that trust with you. I'm not charging you commission or anything of that sort. You're paying a one-time fee and then you're going from there.
Yeah, well, look, that's the gift that keeps on giving, right? So because obviously that's where they become a self-made millionaire based upon
yes,
those disciplines that you help instill in them. So throughout that process, how do you make financial literacy fun?
So financial literacy becomes fun because I incorporate different topics, such as I try to relate a lot of things down to what's going on in the news. And when I say the news, I'm not talking about politics, but I'm just talking about fun things going on. And then other times I will actually break down like what's going on in the news, give you the highlights of the information you need to know. Example, with the CARES Act, when that occurred, or the stimulus package, whichever one you would like to call it, same thing. But giving you the details that you need for that is one of the things that I work to do. And then also, when it comes to things that are fun, I try to relate different quotes to celebrities. Like I use a lot of Kobe Bryant quotes, or I'll use celebrities as an example, like, hey, this person started off here. Yes, they might have had a big break, but they're taking these steps now to sustain their growth. Example, I was talking about the other day was with Nas. Like he invested in Ring, I think for $4 million, and his return was like 40 million. Obviously,
Wow.
I personally don't even have $4 million to invest. But if I take that small topic and I break it down to something smaller, I might have $400 to invest. And now that $400 investment has grown substantially. And one thing I will talk about is Amazon. One of my happiest investments I ever made was Amazon. I think it was like $700 a share at the point in time when I bought it. And now it's trading for over 2,000, close to $3,000. So that's a return on investment. So it's just taking big topics. I don't have 40 million to invest, but I can break it down to something that's more relatable. Now I'm able to start growing growth or making growth, and I'm able to become a self-made millionaire.
How do you balance life when it comes to your finances and then wanting to have fun? Because, obviously learning, you've made it fun. I've watched some of your Instagram. It's very inspiring and very informative. You do
Thank you.
make it really fun. But where does a person get to a point where it's like, oh man, I've been saving every penny, but I don't live? Like, you have to show them the brighter side of both, right? How do you balance
Yes.
that?
So one thing that I think is huge is teaching. Number one, enjoy life. You work hard for your finances, so enjoy it within reason. That's legal and moral, and also within your means. So if it's something, example, taking a walk, that might be relaxing. But if it's, hey, I want to go on this trip, then save for it. Maybe we make a goal to go on the trip maybe in a year, and now we can save $50 every paycheck towards that trip so that you can go enjoy life. Do I think while if people are trying to get out of debt, if that's their goal, that they can't enjoy life at all? No, because nobody wants to. Well, statistically, not a lot of people are going to stick to a plan of trying to get out of debt, and they can't do anything. Like over time, I'll say personally for myself, like that gets really old really quickly. So build in fund within your spending plan that's again within your means, and then legal and moral, all that good stuff at the same time.
Keep it legal. Keep it
Yes.
legal. And I would say, like, if there's a vacation that you want to go on, I mean, you have a separate fund for that vacation. And then you just earned
Yes.
it in that way versus like, okay, well, let me take it out of my big fund here. And now you're negative, or in regards to, say, what you're supposed to maintain at least 3 months for your mortgage or something like that, to where our 6 months.
So my thoughts on that is a little different because realistically, who has 6 months worth of income saved up? Realistically, that is very hard to do. And telling someone, hey, you need a 3 to 6 month worth of emergency fund. That for some people, they're gonna look at that. They're like, I don't even have $10 saved. How am I gonna save 3 months?
Yeah.
So I say break it down and first start small with a small goal. And I tell a lot of my clients, and this is just something free information I'm giving out. First, start with your car deductible, whatever your deductible is for your car insurance. If it is $500, start with that. Now we're going to build that up to $1,000. And now I've saved $1,000. So with that $1,000, I can raise my deductible up to $1,000. I've saved money on my car insurance. So now I can start building up more money because now maybe I save $10 a month. So that's an extra $10 every month I can put towards it. And I might put this money in a CD. So now I'm earning more money off of it. And then you can work your way up to 3 to 6 months. But I say, and this number may be completely off. This is just my estimation from clients I've seen. I would say 70% of Americans, in my opinion, do not have 3 to 6 months worth of income saved. And I think this pandemic has definitely
Oh,
backed up my point that people don't have 3 to 6 months worth of income saved. So I just don't agree with that notion. Yes, you can build up to that point, but if we're not teaching financial literacy in schools, how are people ever going to get to that point
yeah.
without me?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because I mean, I think economics and then maybe elementary school, they showed us how to spend money. They showed you how to write a check. And then we had a whole day, but you didn't save it. I was one of the people that saved it. So at the end of the day, I didn't get to take it home with me. It was play money, but
Right.
you only had one day to learn something, right?
Exactly.
But in high school, we took economics, but that's just one class. We're talking about investing. So I think
Hmm.
when you do talk about like where should we be learning in our school systems, I think we probably should have more courses along the way and each, I guess, division, because sometimes you just have grammar school and you have high school. But I agree. We should be definitely learning it. So do you offer online classes? Because you just gave us a little course right there. Do you offer online classes? And if so, how someone signs up for it?
Yes, so very soon we're going to be launching a service or a course. It's going to be entitled Be Your Own Credit Repair. It's not teaching people how to start a credit repair business, because I do not believe in credit repair at all. But it's going to start with teaching you, regardless of what your situation is, how do you go about fixing or enhancing your credit to achieve that score that you want to achieve. And then people might say, well, I don't need credit. I listen to a lot of people that say credit's bad, this, that, or the other. You might not need credit, but if you're starting that business, you're going to need some type of credit. So I always say, let's start with building up that. Well, not always, but I often will say, let's start with building up your credit. So I'm going to teach exactly how you go about doing that. So that's one of the online courses that will soon be offered. And it's going to be a 3-week program. And then we also offer counseling service that are one-on-one that people can take advantage of as well.
Awesome. All right. So, how are you managing the demand for your services and scaling your business as the founder and CEO?
So thankfully, I have a wonderful, excellent marketing team called J. Media, who is helping me with automation processes and other things as well to help me manage. And then also creating a team. So having people that can help with social media is very important so that we can give one-on-one attention to our clients when they need it. And then also having processes in place every morning to make sure email is checked. At the end of the day, make sure email is checked and try to respond to people within 24 to 48 business hours. I always give myself the grace of the 48 business hours, but I always try to do it within the 24, but sometimes life happens.
There it is. Life happens, just like your puppy over there.
Yes, and I apologize for her noise.
No, you're fine. I think everyone's going to love it. Just adds a little bit to our interview. So look, Adrienne, it's always a pleasure to have you, right? I follow your Instagram. I definitely am taking tips, and I like the way you keep us up to date with the current news and how it affects us. But where can everyone find you?
Yes, so excellent question. And thank you so much for enjoying our page. We are on social media channels of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all with the handle of @Tailored Wealth Saver. And it's TAILORED Wealth Saver.
Singular, not plural.
Yes.
What about your website?
So the website created by J. Media, which I'm very proud of, is www.tailoredwealthsaver.org.
All right. So, thanks again, Adrienne, for your time. You're in Texas. All right. So, and to our listeners, thank you for your time. Let us know what you think of our show and stay tuned. There's more to come with our book series and episodes. If you have any questions or would like to continue to be inspired, you can always find us at onerealstory.com or on our social media platforms such as YouTube, Instagram. But on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button for notifications to stay up to date, because we have more guests, and you may even see Adrienne back here again. So remember, in closing, stay focused and make good choices to win the small battles. When you look up, you won the war. I'm Dana White. See you next episode.